now. Let me get the link on. Yes, we're live now.
We're
yeah,
done.
so it shows the way. So before the settings wasn't done properly from my end. Settings was not done properly, so that's why. All right, guys, we're live. We're live. All right, guys, we're live.
Okay, GM, guys.
All right, so I just shared the link to show we're live. Let me see if I can get this by camera fixed. Let me just see. Let me see. Yeah, but you can proceed.
So generally, the market is still where it was yesterday. And my stand on tokens and sitting on the sidelines is still in play. So before this stream, you were talking about gold and how gold has been pumping. Yeah, that's true. And we all know that at some point there's always this correlation between gold and BTC. But for some reason, gold is just still continuously pumping, which we know the reason why gold is pumping because of this whole unsteady decisions coming out from the White House, for Greenland, sanctions, and all whatnot. The rich is basically just hedging their wealth, and the instrument they are using for such hedge is gold, right? And also maybe silver also, but then it's primarily gold. So that has made us see gold to really, really, really surge. Now we're expecting Bitcoin to do the same, but for some reason that hasn't yet happened, right? That hasn't really yet happened. But let's see how this month proceeds. This week we should be rounding up the month, which we are still expecting that strong push. And for me, it's still the same thing. I need alt to surge, like to hit that 5x, 10x pump in a very, very short period of time. That will bring back excitement. That will bring back so many people that have been priced out sometime in November or in October. Yeah, that should be like an exciting time once it starts happening. Your mic is off. No, mic is switched off.
Is it better now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Okay. So I was saying yes, I totally agree on why gold is surging, but one thing I've noticed in this market is it's always good to react. Like it's always very, very good to react, take advantage, make money from the market, make as much money as you can from the market. Like it's literally always good to react to whatever is happening in the market. So the gold pump has actually given lots of people like good money. And here is one thing that most persons don't even know, or most persons don't even pay attention to. You can actually spot buy gold, even if you're not trading it via features, you can spot buy. And to tell you how much gold has run from December last year till today, gold has done almost 20%. Like from December last year to almost today. As at this morning, when I checked, it was almost $5,300 as at this morning. And 20% of 5K is 1K to get. And last year, December, gold was around 4,200, 4,300. We'll look at the charts actually. We'll look at the charts. So imagine if you actually just bought it via spot and you left it, you'd have been up at least 20%. And also imagine if you traded it via features, you'd have been up some really, really good profits if you like just longed it from a good entry point and you left it. You'd have made some really, 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 really good profits. So let's look at what's happening briefly. Let's look at what's happening in the market. Then we look at some of our trades that we're still holding. We're on two long-term trades, AR and SUI. We check those two trades. Then we'll look at some other stuffs too on the market. Then I'll give my insights too on Ori based on my observation yesterday and what I feel would be like my verdict moving on from the Ori chain. So looking at the market, we notice like a bounce. Today, most projects are green. Hype is still leading the charge from day before yesterday. Hype has been rallying, running very well. We saw it go above $30 to almost $34. I'm expecting this to be a catalyst for DEXs to start running like Asta, Apex, and a few others. That is literally what I'm expecting. How fast this would happen, I'm expecting it to happen within a week before hype loses the whole momentum and all. That's what I'm expecting. So if hype goes to like $40 and above, you should see a strong push from most of those altcoins in the DEX area. Now, if we look at them the last 1 week, see hype is up 60%. As at this time last week, hype was around $21. As at this time last week, 21, 22. It's up over 50% from there. Guys, that's huge. Like, that's really, really huge. That tells you what happens in this space. So imagine if you had put 5K on hype, you'd have made a profit of like 2.5. So that's actually huge. Whereas gold has done 8.8%, almost 10, which is huge. When you factor in the fact that gold is valued at over 20 trillion. That's one thing that people don't understand. Gold is valued at over 20 trillion. You know what it means for an asset to add 20% in roughly 40 days or thereabouts. That's what gold did. Added approximately 20% from December till date. That is very, very huge. It's different from when hype that is in billions, maybe just 10 billion or thereabouts, doing 50%. Even if hype does 200%, it can't compare it to what gold just did. Gold adding just 10% is already it's adding over 2 trillion. And that 2 trillion is equivalent to the entire crypto market cap. So that gives you an idea of how huge and how massive this really is. So we're still paying attention. Like we said, we expect them this week rather, to be better than last week. Last week was red. We're expecting this week to be better. The way the month is looking, it's looking like BTC is not going to break above 100K. The way the month is looking, which leaves just February as the only month. Personally, I'm expecting that to happen. It can happen outside February, but personally, my expectation was for this to happen December, February, worst case, March. But March for me is it's a very dicey month. It's not even 50-50 yet. It all depends on how February plays out. Yet. So we'll find out. We'll see if the market right now has established a floor, because for all we know, the market has not established a floor. Altcoins are still going down. If you check most altcoins, they are lower. They are at lower prices than they were December. You can check them out. Most altcoins, they're at lower prices. So the market is not yet stable. And we're not just talking of random alts. We're talking like solid altcoins. There are lots of them that are still down, like they are down very, very bad. So we'll keep a close eye, observe it. Now, River has been performing very well. When you talk about swing trading, it has been performing very, very well. I've just been observing it. It dumped to about $50 yesterday, and next day it pumped to about $70 something, almost $80. Yet, so River has been performing some magic. Yet when you talk about swinging, doing some easy 30 to 50% pumps followed by correction. So I'm actually still observing it. I've not taken any position. I've not done anything. I'm just still observing, basically. I'm not doing too much of over trading or buying this period. I'm just waiting. Yeah. So let's look at some of our trades. Let's look at some of our trades. So, by the way, apologies for starting very late today. We're trying to get some technical issues sorted, and the first time we streamed, we didn't select the social media platforms it was supposed to so we had to redo that. So we're on this AR trade from yesterday. You can see there was a bounce. It did a bounce yesterday based on BTC rally to 89K or thereabouts. It bounced a little, and after which it went back again to entry. I'm still holding. I didn't set break even because of what is a long term trade, which I stated. So I'm still holding. Same way, I'm still holding SUI. Where is SUI? Our SUI trade is still on. The only thing I did in SUI is my entry level is now much lower because of my DCA when it went down. Yeah, this is SUI. I DCA'd when it went down around this level. So as at here, I was in profit, but I just still left it. I didn't do anything. Obviously, there's a resistance here now because we went lower. So this place is now like a resistance where you're seeing like rejections towards the downside. So everything is very much dependent on BTC, what BTC is going to do. All we need right now is for BTC to just stabilize and stop it up, dump, up, dump, up, dump. That's what we need. So those are like our two trades we're holding. Next, let's look at the ORAI. Then let me share something briefly about the ORAI project. So first and foremost, I don't know if other people have noticed this. I'm trying to pull up the chart first before I start talking so you can see the chart here. First and foremost, I don't know if other, by the way, my ORAI tokens are still fully staked. Everything is still staked. I've never unstaked anything. That bag is down by 95%. Like it's down by no, it's down by about 99 point something percent. Because if you got in around $4 and it's at 40 cents, then you say it's down by 90%. Yeah, so mine is down by beyond 90, about 98, 99%. That's what it's down by. Yeah, so if you notice something on ORAI, let's go to daily charts. This is my observation, by the way. Notice that since dropped their what's it called, Galak, the Galak pre-sale, when they dropped that Galak pre-sale, that's when we saw this rally. When they dropped Galak pre-sale, that's when we saw this rally. So if you guys recall, usually on a ride, if we go above $4.4, majorly above $5, multiple times that's happened. We rally above $10 and just keeps going to like 10, 13, 14, highest maybe $18. That's happened like 3 times to 4 times. Where we come down, we bounce around 4, and the same thing. We usually have a resistance around this level. Yeah, so in the month of May, we tried to shoot all the way up. Then before the market saw correction around August. Yeah, so July, August, that correction brought the market down. Then we pumped again. And we went to almost 3.5. This was like July. I think BTC did an all-time high around this period. Now, by August, we dumped down to 2.4. Now, for me, I feel this is where they started the whole manipulation and all the stuffs that they are doing. I feel this is where they started everything. So around this period, they announced Galak. Around this period, they announced Galak pre-sale. Now that Galak pre-sale was what I know it's around this zone. It's what sent the price of ORAI all the way up to as high as almost $4. It sent it all the way up. Now, what I think they were doing then is they announced that because they knew it was going to bump the price, and they added it to Max. They added it to Max, and it was part of the tokens that we needed for subscription to get to buy. Now, I know I was checking then on MXC. There wasn't much sale volume, but immediately it started approaching $4. And you guys recall it was around here that MXC took ORAI out from futures trading, if you guys recall then. And we were saying it's one of 2 things that will happen. It's most likely going to be a huge pump that is coming, or the opposite. Those are one of the two things when you see stuffs like that. It's either a huge pump is about to come or the opposite. Now, the around this period, it rallied very high, but there were some unexpected sell volume. I could see some on KuCoin and MXC. Very unexpected sell volume, and it forced the price down. Now, every other thing they started doing from here afterwards became very, 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 very shady. Like, to be very honest, it was very shady. A good example is they knew very well that they announced that price would pump, which they did for the pre-sale. Price pumped. Now it was dumped back. Obviously not by investors. I doubt it's investors that dumped it back. I really, really doubt that. Now they announced the Galak, and Galak was live. After a while, somewhere around here, they announced Galactias, like Galactias, which that was supposed to pump Galax to a very good price. But if you go back to the Galac chart and check, every time Galac pumped to like 280, 320, it was met by huge dumps, like huge dump, even before they announced that tier. Now, immediately they announced those tiers, it was more of like they had to make people get excited to go and increase the buy volume and all. And when that happened, I think it pumped to 410 or 390 or so. That was when they finally crashed it further to about 150, 120 or thereabout. Now, afterwards, they announced somewhere around here, around this when Ori was still holding 2.8 or so. This was where they announced around the max to abandon the max project and some other projects. They announced that somewhere around here, and that's what crashed the price all the way down. Now, my issue with all of these stuffs is it just seems too convenient and too, should I use the word, too coincidental, that the times that they announced most of the good news was followed by huge dumps. You get, and even when they announced the bad news, where we agreed that okay, it's the bad news that crashed it. The tokens, I could remember then I was telling them Space now, the tokens that people exchanged for Max and racks and all of that, because there was money in all of those liquidity pool. There was like reasonable money in all of them. The tokens that people gave in exchange for LFG, those tokens were valuable if you compare it to what you had in the liquidity pool. Even if, as at then, let's say your max value had dropped from like $4,000 to, because max was 5 point something M on that day and it crashed to like 1.6, 1.8. Even if your 5K had dumped to like 1,600, you get approximately that dumped to 1,600. At least if you went to sell then, you would have had $1,600, no doubt. Now they had people swap that for the proposed LFG, which people only did that because they assumed it to be more valuable at 400K market cap, only for them to abandon that, delay LFG launch all through this period, delayed LFG launch. And right now, if you go and check Max, Racks, and all those other tokens, you find out that the FTV has drastically dropped. Like those tokens are literally gone. Max FTV is far below 100K. So what the team did, which to me now that was the very, very bad stuff. What the team did now was they got the valuable tokens, Max, Racks, name it, Oridex and all. They got those tokens from the users and they use those tokens to go and collect the funds and the liquidity pool. You get, so because it's now like everybody has given them their tokens, so they now own those tokens, and they went to dump those tokens to collect the money in the liquidity pool. And for me, that was like the most terrible thing you can. That just made everything flip the opposite direction. You get, and I started checking most of these things. I think early this year. That's when I went to like check Max and the rest. That just made everything seem very, 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 very terrible, and it made it, should I say, obvious that nah, these guys they don't have good intentions anymore at this point. They are now compromised. Now, if they had dropped the LFG and they launched at over 400k FDV, nobody would have complained. Like, we literally won't be saying this right now. But the launch was cancelled for whatever reason. It was cancelled, the reason being bad markets and all of those things. Whereas the funds and the liquidity pool of those other tokens was actually swapped out because they dumped it. So when you put 1 and 2 together, you find out that what these guys are doing and saying and the token, what the token is showing, it's not aligning. It's sincerely not aligning. Like I said yesterday, burning, even if they burn 2 million ORAI tokens, it has zero effects on this. What is needed is buy, not burn. It's buy pressure that is needed. And also, if you're burning and you're busy dumping, there's no way that makes any sense. You get. Now, the icing on the cake is this. I went to the group yesterday and I just laid out like my observation, and they blocked me in their Telegram channel. I just asked some questions and laid out some observations that I had, and they blocked me. And for me, those things are like, those things just prove that the project is now compromised. Personally, that is what it proves. Someone also dropped like a long write-up in the group, which I saw, and I was like, okay, let me also share my own opinion and observation. And the guy, very long write-up, maybe it might still be there. The guy said that when he got into the ecosystem, it wasn't based on an ecosystem that is just pushing only one product alone. So it's not, so that's not the whole aim or the whole idea of the token and the most investors. Because if that was it, then most persons would have reevaluated the market cap and all of those other things. So they are not supposed to limit the projects to just pushing one product alone, the quant. There's a whole lot that they are supposed to do. The LFG was supposed to be pushed, and so many other things that the guy also said, which to a good extent, I agree with him. But the fact that they proceeded to delete and ban, then that's actually that actually goes to like verify that these guys have been compromised, unless they have one plan that we have no idea of, or it's what we are seeing, they've been compromised. Now, if you also notice here on this day, the 10th, when we saw this spike to like 1.3, immediately they announced the quant. It was more of like there were lots of buy volume coming, and it was followed by dump all the way. And it tried to go all the way up again. It was followed by more dumps. So this begins to bring the question of, so who is now dumping? Because most of the investors are not the ones dumping. So who is dumping? The project. And this is out of the box, and Space 9B, you drop your contribution. I was speaking to a friend of mine that is an influencer, and there was something he said. He said something when I was like, all right, partnered with, there's a marketing agency they partnered with, owned by a very famous foreign crypto influencer, a white guy. I'm trying to remember the name. They partnered with them, I think September, maybe October, something like that. And I could remember something that he said. He said, most projects that partner with that guy's company, most of them end up rugging. This was like far back September or October, something like that. He said most of them end up rugging, that he has noticed it. You get, and this person doesn't really know much about ORAI or anything like that, or their track record. Person doesn't really. And the guy was like, most of those projects that partner with that guy's company, they end up rugging. So then I didn't take it serious because I was still extremely bullish, and most of these events had not yet played out. Most of these events had not played out. But from that September, October till date, if we look at the events that have played out, one will begin to like be very skeptical. Personally, why I didn't bother on staking is because those tokens have been, most of them have been staked for years. And aside that, they are down over 90%. And then lastly, it take about 2 weeks. So what's the point? Simply put, what's the point? So personally, let me know, what do you think about all of this before we look at CoinGecko list of tokens moving and also some meme coins to keep an eye on. What do you think?
Well, I agree with what you said. You know, it will be such a shame to see Orai misbehave further. But like I was telling you the other day, that I don't understand how there was a proposal in the beginning for them to get about 1 million tokens from the treasury to use it for validators, to keep paying validators, like reward validators and stickers. Now, a few months down the line, they are saying that they mapped out 1 million tokens to burn, and they are about to burn 500,000 tokens. It doesn't make sense to me. So basically, for me, yeah, they have products that are working, that people are using. The Cosmos chain is using their bridge for interchain bridge. And some other projects are using their VRF for random number generation and all that, and then for Oracle pricing. Now, we all know this is crypto basically. So what I'm looking out for is whatever they are doing, if it gets Orai to start pumping, let's say we start to see Orai heading towards $10, right? It's safe to say maybe we'll start pulling out capital, start pulling out money from Orai at that point, right? If we don't see like a much more coordinated approach, if we just all of a sudden start seeing massive pump, maybe as a result of, let's say, good PR, that is the best time to start exiting, right? Because like these things that you've outlined, it only takes someone that is observant and is putting two and two together and forecasting stuff to be able to start thinking. Because what we have from here is limited information. It's not like we are part of the team or we have like direct access to what is happening inside the team, right? What we are doing here is we are just deducing what we are seeing, more like effects of what has happened, to reverse engineer and understand what will happen and what is going on internally, right? So if we've come to the conclusion from external information that these guys, they are moving funny, right? Then you could imagine what is happening internally with someone that has like a first-hand information. So if we start, since they've hired someone, maybe a marketing firm that is doing PR, that's really good, right? So we should see Orai pump. So let's say we see Orai do a 10x from the current price where it is. Okay, that's fantastic, right? If we get to see a 10x, Orai should be around, if I'm not mistaken, where Orai is, should be like $3 service, it's even messed up, right? Let's even say we see more than a 10x, maybe we'll get Orai towards $6 or $7. Just purely PR. Then you know that, man, maybe I should just exit this whole thing and rest, right? So that should be it. Now this goes back to what we've been saying. Most of these things, most of these projects are startups. they won't succeed. That's just the truth. Most of them won't succeed. Some of them will go with a loud bang. Some of them will go silently. Some of them will persist for so long, right? Both Rujira, both Orai, even Chromius, all of them are startups. They're not fully established, right? Except they have like very good investors that pushes them. And we've even seen projects that have VCs that just like Injective, Aptos, and all those other ones that they just come, pump crazy, and then that's it. They disappear, right? It doesn't even take up to 3 months. They are gone. There is nothing else happening on chain. So let's just hope that we'll get that pump from Orai that most of us can just exit with good amount of money, right? If that happens, let's just exit. And we'll announce it here. If all of us were exiting from the project, we'll make a general announcement that, oh, guys, we are pulling out, or we started DCAing out of the project, because there's a lot of money involved in Orai, because I've been holding Orai for God knows how long. So if I'm beginning to sense that these guys are messing up or these guys are up to something really funny, I could start exiting. It could be a trap where they want people to exit and then pump the token and make more money, that's fine. But in as much as I have my sanity with me and I've made that call decision, so it's something that has to be done. They are moving mad at this point. They are doing something really really wrong. Yeah, so I agree with what you're saying. We are keeping an eye on Ori, just like the same thing that's happening with Sora, right? So Sora can do this thing and then pump small, many people exit, and then they now give that massive pump. I'm not going to blame people that exited at the first pump, right? Because you guys have been doing something very, very shady, and then people you don't have investor confidence. At this point, Ori doesn't really have investor confidence. If the quant fails, that's the end of it. If the quant succeeds, many people want to use that as an exit strategy to leave the project. So yeah, so let's see how it goes. Hopefully the market is more stable for these tokens to pump, and once it does, we will start using alts as multiplier effects. I think that's the next strategy we all have to start what's it called, imbibing. Use alts and multiplier effects. So if I put $500 in an alt, I want the alt to do maybe at least 2x. But if it falls 30%, I've exited that alt. So use it as a multiplier effect. There's no more hodling, because we've seen even the best projects, you hodl it. These guys are trading crypto now is just, so let's trade it, not even let's hodl. If you want to hodl, go and buy Bitcoin, right? But most of these alts, buy it, maximum drawdown 30%, maximum upside, infinity. But if it does 2x real quick, you remove capital, remove some profit, and then let's see how it runs. So that way, one can probably even take advantage of this market, trading spots. So that's it for me.
All right, guys. You heard him. Let's look at gold. Just to add to that briefly, that's why I said it last year that I can't tell someone to buy Ori as a long term, because no matter how good a project is, there's a market cap it needs to also get into before you can categorize it as a project that, yes, it can be around for a very long time and you can pull in a certain amount of money into it. Outside that, you're just taking more risk. You're overexposing yourself. I think that was the major reason I gave then, that before you can say, all right, despite everything was looking solid and all, before you can say it's a project that, yes, you can bank on long term, it needs to break above at least $1 billion FDV. I recall saying that at least $1 billion FDV, it needs to go above that level and hold that level for a short period of time. Hold it, then that is when you can now begin to say, okay, this project, obviously it can be around, it's trustworthy and things like that. Those are like some things that investors look at. For those that have been with us for over a year, you recall like 2-3 times I said something relating to this. And I remember that same day I was leaning towards an AR, that for me, I'll prefer to pick AR as one of such projects that I can like throw in funds long term. Now, even when you pick those projects, you need to still keep evaluating them maybe quarterly to look at business model, competition, also progress, updates. Just look at some of all those things. It's also very, very important to check. There are only few projects in crypto that have become too big to fail, quite few. And most of them are OG projects. Most of those projects are OG projects. Yeah, so let's look at gold briefly. So if you guys noticed something yesterday, this was the line I drew yesterday, where I was saying let's see if gold will be able to go past it. And if it's able to go past it, that would mean it's creating another new all-time high. Now you notice something. This is a strategy I'm going to share that I've noticed play out multiple times on gold, so you can try it out at your spare time. I've noticed something basically. Whenever gold pauses, now that it has been on an uptrend for like straight, it has been on an uptrend for since last year, since January, simply put, 1st of January, it has just been pumping, pumping, pumping. You'll notice. Since first, that's just maybe this sometime. I think somewhere here should be first. Yeah, somewhere here should be first around here. We saw this December, this correction December. Then I think here or here, yeah, that should be first. Now, what I've noticed is whenever gold does a consolidation, like whenever you see it do a consolidation, currently that it's on this uptrend. Now, I'm not talking of when it switches and starts dumping. No, that's not what I'm talking of. Because like this has been on uptrend, uptrend. It has not even broken structure on 1 hour time frame. Like it's just up, up, up only. So whenever gold does like a consolidation and it breaks out of that consolidation long, this is a typical example. Just consolidating between here and here, and it broke out here. This line was drawn yesterday. So immediately it breaks out long with your stop loss below the fair value gap. Long. That's something I've noticed. On lower time frame, if you go to lower time frame, you'll notice the same thing happen here too. On lower time frame, you notice the same similar thing that happened here. There was a little consolidation yesterday evening around here, just very little. And afterwards, immediately it broke out long all the way to about 5,300. That's an insane pump, guys. Like that is literally a very, very, very insane pump that gold has done. So this is something that has been very, very consistent. So if you want to trade it, you find a consolidation level, preferably 1 hour time frame or 15 minutes time frame. Find a level that's consolidating. Right now, maybe it might consolidate around here for a while, or it might come down to this point. Preferably, I would like to see it drop down to this level personally, but it can consolidate around here for a while. Now, if it doesn't come down and it breaks out of this zone again, 5,300 long. But there's one thing I'm certain of. When the dump comes for gold, it's going to be brutal. We might see as much as $1,000 dump. Once we see that, once it comes to be, it's be very, very brutal. Now that's because there was a time we saw something like that for gold. Let me see if I can see it. There was a time we saw something like that here. That was 2011, 2012, I think. Here. So we saw a huge rally almost every year from around 2001 or so all the way to 2011. And then we saw a huge dump that's continued for about 5 years or 4 years. We saw like that dump about 4 or 5 years. And now it's been all the way up again. So if you check from 2016 when it started going up till date, it's been about 10 years. Yeah, so most likely a dump would be expected this year. We don't know where to blow off. You can't tell where the top would be. But one thing is certain. Once that dump comes, it's going to be very, very huge. But until then, it will keep presenting lots of opportunities. If you're trading on the lower time frame for gold, you want to get in quick and get out quick. If you're trading on the lower time frame, you want to get in very quick and get out very, very, very quick. That's what you want to do on the lower time frame. So this is looking like a good correction. This is looking like a good correction. What I'll prefer to see, because most times I don't just feel comfortable longing all the way to infinity. What I'll prefer to see for gold today is if we can come all the way down, yet we can come all the way down to probably this level or this level, that's where it will be most exciting to get a pump. But aside that, for lower time frame traders, it's currently sitting on a support. For lower time frame traders, if you're trading it on the lower time frame, gold is currently sitting on the support. This is a support right here. That's a lower time frame order block that it's sitting on. So presenting another long opportunity to all-time high. Currently, that is what the chart is showing us. So correction to continue moving up again. So lower time frame traders, this is what they'll be looking to trade basically. Is literally what they'll be looking to trade for good. Take a long here, targeting this level. Maybe they might bring it a bit lower to here to keep it moderate. With stop loss below this level. So I think that's all we're looking at for gold. Personally, I would want to see more correction. I'll feel more comfortable. Taking a long if I see a little bit of more correction, just a little bit of more correction. All right, guys. So I don't know if there's any question. If there's a question, you can ask the question now before we call it a day. Especially, I don't know if you have anything to share before we round up, because we have spent over 40 minutes already. You have something to share. By the way, our BTC trade is still, and personally, I've exited the trade, but it's close to full TP. If there's anyone still in the trade, but personally, I have exited the trade. I've exited this BTC trade. I told you guys yesterday. I've exited the BTC trade. Exited around 1-to-1, so but the trade is almost at full TP. Yeah. So any questions? If you're wondering a trade to take, AR trade is still a very good trade. Still very, very good. If you're wondering or you're thinking of a trade to take, just a few minutes ago when we started this live, it was somewhere here. So you can see it's about going up, and all that this trade needs now to explode is just for it to go above this level. If it goes above 3.4, trust me, AR would easily get to about 3.7. So all it needs right now is just to go above this zone. If it does that, you're good to go. That's just what we need. And the good thing is we're seeing rejections here, so it doesn't want to go lower unless BTC dumps, but there are good rejections here. Whereas from the side of BTC, BTC is just facing a resistance around this level. So if BTC is able to gather momentum, this should happen. This should be happening towards afternoon, late evening, maybe from 2 o'clock to 6. BTC should be able to pump above this level, targeting this level. If that happens, our AR trade should hit full TP. Yeah, so Space, now over to you before we call it a day. I don't know if you're there. All right, I don't think he's there. I think he's having some network issues. So guys, see you guys same time tomorrow. We should be having about 2 speakers join us next week on 2 different days. So I just need to finalize the days with them, and we might be having another speaker that will be joining us. Okay, I think his network had issues. Are you there now? Are you there now?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, I didn't know you were taken out of the stage. I did not know. I'm just saying it. Yeah, so we're expecting those speakers to join us by next week. So see you guys next week. Pay attention to the trades we dropped, and manage your trades. Very, very important. If you're interested in taking the gold trade, personally, I did not take this gold trade. I didn't take it, but if you're interested in it, well, you might want to give it a shot. You might want to, if you're interested in it. That's the trade, just so for people that maybe they are just joining or something. Oh, it's not here. I drew it. I think I drew that trade somewhere around here. Okay, this is it. That's the trade. So personally, I didn't take the trade, but this is like the expectation if you're trading from 15 minutes time frame. So whenever you take your trades, ideally, if someone had jumped into this trade earlier, by now you should have moved your SL to break even. Yet, so whatever happens, you're good and you're safe, whatever happens. Yeah, so most persons that adjust prices while longing gold, that's what they've been doing. So you can see some people holding a trade for 1 month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Since it's moving very fast, they just adjust their SL gradually tracking the price. So if the worst happens and it starts dumping, they're still exiting very good profit automatically. All right, guys. So thank you so much for your time and see you guys same time tomorrow. Please bring someone with you when you're joining and bring your questions too. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.